Hello and welcome. Today I will be going over the game show that I've been making. Um, this is the game Are You Smarter Than a Spoon? Most rules will be given by game host. More fun with 2+ players. Spoon counter is the number of players. So, warning, made by Spoon. The spoon counter is made by a spoon, so kind of has some difficulty counting and stuff, but let me just click this to reset everything. Here we go. I am now in adventure mode. Can't hit anything. And right here you see +1 and -1 spoon moments to put on there. So as you can see, that just happened. And if I do one, it says 1 player selected. I am using some command blocks to do this. So now it's 2 players selected, and if you press -1 spoon moment, it does the same thing. It just goes by 1 because it's made by a spoon. It's just kind of like a play on words. Anyway, so I do 4 players. The 4 is upside down. The 3 is flipped. Can't speak. If I hit 0 players and I try and start the game, it makes that noise and says needs 1+ players to play. So I go here, and then it's 1 player selected. Since it's only me, I hit this. It's an explosion, and this opens up. This is all also in the Bedrock edition of Minecraft. So if I just step up here, wait for elevator, 1 at a time. Oh, one person, please press the elevator and press the up button. If you hear that sound, that's like an applause sound that I've made. So if I press up, then it doesn't work. Sometimes I need to press it a couple times. So I'm being launched up here. And here we are in here. You can see everybody's clapping for me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we're in this sort of game room area place. And he is actually supposed to be doing something else, so let me just quickly do something real quick. So he's not supposed to be doing that. He's supposed to be here we go. Let me get a redstone block real quick. Yes, that one. And so then, if I go back in here, whenever I enter in here, he's actually going to be like that. So I enter in from here, he's like that, that light turns off, and these are directing me to go into my spot. All these guys are clapping in their seats. Actually, I haven't put them in their seats yet. I need to do that. Right here will be the score system, sort of, kind of, maybe. So, I'm player 1, so I'll get in here. Everybody stops. And nothing happens. And if I try and get out... Well, I didn't reset it. Hold on. Let me just quickly reset stuff. And yes, yes. I don't know why that. Oh yeah, because. Let me just do a couple things here. Alright, so now if I step on the pressure plate, everything should kick into gear. Let me just get rid of all this stuff again. And so then now, if I step in here, Alright, let's get this party started. Welcome to Are You Smarter Than a Spoon? I need points for that. So this is how the game works. Direct your attention to the board here, please. Boom. So everybody starts at grade 1. Basic Flash logic. On the far left here, there are varying degrees of difficulty with points based off of that. Once you complete one in the grade, you'll unlock the next grade. Your goal is to reach the end with the most points. The game ends when all points are off the table, so good luck, and I think it didn't work. And if you try and leave at any point in time, it's just gonna have like a little thing that says sit down and then it teleports you back. If you try and leave, it will do that. But I want to check something. So it should have done this. 0 blocks filled. Oh, okay, so I think the redstone block was already there. And I believe it should be, I should have actually reset it. Yeah, it did. Yeah, okay, never mind. I know what I'm thinking. So now if I do this, alright, player 1, time to make your decision. So that's what would have happened. So if I go in here, there we go. So that would have happened. I just didn't reset everything before I started this, so I'm in here and now I can leave. It doesn't push me back. He's in his little breathing cycle now. And then now I can select one of these. So grade 1 is basic / logic. It'll go from easy to difficult. Grade 2 practical, like crops and stuff. You can see all these guys in their normal position, but like if you press a button, then all the crops will be broken. And the third one is piston doors, fourth one is slime blocks, and fifth one is challenges. So yeah, that'll be exciting. And I think that's all that I have done. It is whatever I've just done, it is capable for doing for multiple players. So say it was made for 2 players, then it would switch between 1 to 2, 1 to 2, 1 to 2, instead of it just always being 1 or 1 to 2 to 3, 1 to 2 to 3. It's more fun with more players, I would think, but I haven't really tested it out because it's not ready yet. I just sort of kind of working on it, and I have labeled everything, sort of, kind of. So this is the thing here, and I'll teleport, put the workspace, and then I'll do extra stuff. I haven't put anything into there, and actually I think, no, it hasn't. It would have cloned over here, but right here, this is where the game host is. So if you didn't know, redstone under an armor stand does makes him do a different pose. So I mapped out all the poses here, and then you can, if any of the command blocks puts a redstone block here to say do left kick or celebrate, then I'll remove it immediately after. And this is just like a quick breathe cycle thing. So here it's move, one places it there, one places it there. Relax or breathe 1, stiff, and breathe 2. So then I have like a little loop system there. Here is just switching between the spotlight on the host and on the table here. Let's actually start at the beginning. That would have been what it actually would have looked like, because this was like sort of kind of prototype 1. So you would have come out here and then you would have been surrounded by this, but it's like, I think I'll do that instead. So I did do that instead. So as you can see here, both the plus and minus spoon moment goes to this piston feed tape here, which isn't supposed to work. And this top feed tape here is the cauldrons. Based on how much they're filled, they have a certain length. So the one right underneath this is a cauldron filled to a certain amount. And so then if you select one player, this block gets placed and it says one player selected, and it also removes the one for 0 players. And it does a bunch of stuff up there as well. And if the redstone block is here, then it'll push this over and do other stuff. And whenever you select for this is error if there's 0 players, and it plays a sound, it'll do explosion, copy gate, move, interact, and elevator. So it'll do all those things. It's basically self-explanatory. What it does, this is the glass in front of there, so it copies it. But right here, this is where the elevator is. So this one blocks the elevator with obsidian. This one brings the elevator down, or like copies it. This one destroys the old elevator at the very top there. Then this one destroys the redstone, which is placed here to activate it. It then sends a pulse through here into a pulse lengthener, and after all those ticks of delay, it removes I actually don't have a thing for this. Removes the obsidian. So I'll remove the obsidian there. And after the pulse is finished, then it'll test to see if the elevator is still in there. If it isn't, then it'll restart and it'll do the whole thing over. Because before I was having the trouble with the elevator going off right as I placed it here. But I think I've gotten rid of that problem. But if it's there and it doesn't fly off, then it'll activate the system here. So it'll clear the glass that's right in front of you. It'll say, the game host will be like, hey, okay, next person, and it'll do the note. And then it'll also wait for the player to be inside the elevator area. And so then it'll replace the barrier, or replace the glass so nobody else can get in with you. It'll remove the redstone, which is right here, because the redstone's here until you're in there. And it'll have the game host be like, okay, ready for you, and it'll activate the intro. The intro is up here. So I'll activate the intro here. It'll move the game host to where he's pointing, unless you're in the breathe cycle, because it is still activated. So the breathe cycle will be activated, and it'll put the spotlight on the game host guy there. And so then it'll check the elevator to see once you get into the room, it'll be like, hey, you're within the certain amount. And so then it'll remove the redstone there and have the game host say, hey, welcome the closest player, which is the player on the elevator. And whenever the redstone is here, it'll activate this, which will activate the backlights and the applause. So it has all the lights, and then I don't need this. I don't know why it's here. It'll activate this clock, couldn't think of the name, which will do, it'll put a certain signal amount into that. So right now, so if the redstone's here, then it'll do one movement. If it's here, then it'll do another movement. The signal, the main signal output. And then this one will cancel some, so it didn't have like a long redstone line. And right here, if this block is placed up here, then it'll cancel. It'll pretty much cancel it. So then this is now outputting a signal strength of 1. And then I just kind of have that spaghettified everywhere. And before I had a piston moving back and forth between the two signal strengths, but now I just have this, which is quieter, because I wanted to add these in for the applause. So these are all the applause here, and it's slightly off, so it kind of sounds more like an applause. So I have all that there. Also, what happens whenever whenever you are up here, then it'll move this redstone block down, which will activate this clock, which will activate the lights in this order, boom, 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 which will it'll actually keep this pulse extender on, which will activate this thing. This thing is basically a piston feed tape with, and so then based on whatever block, wherever the redstone block is, that's which piston is extended. So each one goes to the separate lights, and it'll also go up into this torch tower. And so whenever there's no redstone current going through this redstone torch will turn on, and it'll check, hey, is it 2 players enabled? And if it's not, it'll reset the feed tape, so it'll copy this to there, so then it's back at 4, and so the next time it turns on, it'll go back to 1. And the same for all these, checks if 3 players, checks if 4 players, and then if you have selected 4 players, it'll just do the same loop over and over again. This block line here won't be there, so we'll go back to that. So whenever you sit down there, it'll push this across, which will have an observer if you selected that player. Well, so if you select player 1, none of these will have observers. If you select player 2, this one will have an observer. And so then that means that the game host will say, okay, let's welcome in our next guest. It'll call the elevator, and it'll also reset the lights to where it's the spotlight in the center there. And then you obviously don't want it going through the loop if it's just 1 person. So if it's 2 people, then player 1 has it. And if it's 4 people, then of course you don't need player 4 to be like, okay, welcome the next person, whenever there's only 4 people. So that happens there. And also I have an observer, so once this light turns off and somebody's in it, then it'll say for them to sit down, it'll teleport them into their spot. But if it's their turn, then actually, yeah, I'll get back to that. So right here, so if it's only 1 person, then there won't be a redstone block here. If it's 2 people, there won't be a redstone block here, and 3 people, and so forth. So basically, pretend that there's somebody in these 3 spots if there's 1 person. So once that 1 person is sitting down, then I'll activate this whole redstone line, which pushes out the observer, and if it's the first time this gets activated, I'm actually going to get a block of iron. The first time it's activated, it'll go through this. If it's the second time, it'll go through this, which will do something else. But I haven't done anything with that yet. But also, it'll stop the crowd. So anytime everybody's sitting down, it'll stop the crowd from clapping, no, reset the lights. That means I think it'll go. Yeah. Okay, so it resets the lights that go this way. Because, like, okay, everybody's at their seat. It don't need to direct anybody anymore. So then the game host is like, okay, let's get this party started. It'll move the game host, so he's like, he has the opening gesture, and after a little while, he'll say, okay, welcome to pause. It'll set the subtitle to, because the main title is Are You Smarter, and then the subtitle then a spoon. And so then that will appear and it'll move the game host to where he's pointing to the spoon. It'll also do this pulse extender, and after that the game host will be like, okay, let's start, and or I think direct your attention to the board here, and so then he'll be pointing towards the board, and I'll do another pulse extender, and after that's finished, the light will now be directed on the board instead of him. It will the game host guy will say the whole rules and stuff, and also it'll set this board instead of the blank one to there. So that will happen. Then this pulse extender will go to give you enough time to read it, and after you've read it, he'll start the recycle. It'll start the game, and it should say activate feed tape. So then start game, what does start game do? Oh, so start game, it fills all these four with the iron block. So now every time somebody sits down in their, well, no, every time their thing, the feed tape selects them, it will remove the restriction, like their sitting restriction, so now they can move without having them be forced to sit down. It'll also say, okay, player 1 begin, player 2 begin, player 3, and player 4. And that's all the same there. And it'll also activate the feed tape. That's what this redstone block is here for. So activate the feed tape, and that will happen. I think that's it, actually. Yeah, it is. So yeah, that's it for that. This is the area that you'll be working in. So it'll be like, okay, you've selected that. Now you'll work here, and I already have a hole in it, so I can just hop right in. So in here, you'll start and stop it. You can do a test. So it's like, if it says like, okay, if a redstone pulse goes through here, can you, for the output, can you have it negate it? So it'll be like a green and a red, and it'll already have a repeater here and a repeater going into there. So if it tests it, then it'll simply activate the repeater and seeing if that gets a negation or whatever the thing is. Building blocks, you basically get some building blocks. Smooth sandstone, redstone lamps, redstone blocks, levers, hoppers. You'll also get a pickaxe so you can mine this, because with the slabs you also get sandstone slabs. And you also have all these redstone components to work with. There'll be trash here, so you can do that. And the current time, I have a current time thing there. So once you hit stop, I think everybody will go into here, and they'll all be in adventure mode, so you can't change anything else. So, well, actually, whenever you hit start, it'll be 3, 2, 1. Then you get put into survival mode, and then you can do whatever. It'll be like, okay, you ready? Let's go. And then once you hit stop, everybody's in adventure mode in here, and it tests it. So you can't interact with it while the test is going on. Because then it'd be like, oh, hey, look, you could just be like, oh hey look, that redstone's on, so I'll just flick a lever to make it not turn on and stuff like that. So it'll act like you actually built a thing, but no, you'll be put in adventure mode. But with the test you'll still be in survival mode, but it won't count towards the actual thing. And right here, this is the time circuit, so it'll place an observer here whenever you start the time, and the interact counter in there, it'll place one something, one piece of redstone into your timer there, and so you know how much time you have. But then if you decide to take an item out or something, you can't really fool the system like that, because it'll actually put the same amount into this actual timer up here. So your time will be counted by this, not the timer that you interact with. And the reason why you have a timer is because I think I'll have a system in where you can try and beat their past time, but I think you'll only be able to do that once, or else the game will go forever with just like, oh hey, I can beat your time, I can beat your time, and it'll just go on forever instead of it ending at one point. Right here, this is the open, that's the close, that's the interaction, and so in here, you reset the wall, you reset the interactions, you reset the board, the board there, because I think the only time you need a blank board is for the beginning. It'll reset the game mode into adventure mode, reset positions of everybody into there, and it'll also clear your inventory. So then you can basically restart. And I'll add more to this, so then anytime you click that, everything gets reset. Like these slime blocks get pushed back, and everything's and like the breathe cycle won't be going on, because I had to go out there and fix that. But yeah, everything will be all good. But yeah, it should be interesting for doing this. I hope you understood some of that. And if you stop the applause with the redstone there, it basically destroys the redstone. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Bye.